Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm out here working on the seats for the Project Valiant. Got a lot of stuff to show you. Got the tracks off the seats. I'm using the cutoff wheel to remove the old studs, and this is what I've done. I basically cut them off at the base and ground them down in a little bit. Had to turn the wheel up to grind in that area where that stud gets pressed up through the bracket, but not enough to make it weak. And then I come in with the old Harbor Freight file, the little hobby file, clean up the insides of the square hole here to make sure there's no burrs and that sort of thing. Get it cleaned up just enough for these 3/8 by 5-inch long carriage bolts to slide through. And the reason I went with such long studs was because the way after I took measurements, the way the floors are and the way the seats are supposed to sit in there, we're going to mimic how the bench seats sit in there, and the front half of the seat just under the straight edge of the seat down to the mounting bracket was 3 inches. So and the back half of the bench seat measures 1 inch. So with these, that's what we're doing. Is I did some measurements and figured out that I have to use 1.5 inch box tubing, a section of that to go over on the floor towards the door, and then that'll take care of the front and the back corner on this. If you're sitting in the seat, it would be the right hand side of the seat. And then if on the left hand side of the seat underneath there, the back corner, because of where the floor is, comes right up to the frame, the bracket. So it only needs maybe a couple of washers underneath there. And then the front part of the seat, the front left corner, it's not quite 1.5 inches, so that's why I got the 1 inch box or tubing, square tubing, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, and then whatever's left over underneath the car that sticks out but down below, we'll cut off with the cutoff wheel. But the other thing too is you have to, once you get the square hole cleaned up enough to where this carriage bolt can slide down in there, I also take the file and run it flat ways across these sides of the square underneath the carriage bolt here, just to make sure they're straight. And then you'll either have to tap them in or press them in. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. Just like this one I did here. Let me go ahead and set this one up here and I'll show you. I can't really see on this side. You can probably see better than I can. What I had to do is preset that down in there, mark on the sides where it's got the sides of these, it's got to be cut off, so they'll fit down inside that track, and then they can be pressed in. I did all that, or I'm actually working on that. I already got one completed and working on a second one. Let's see what else. Okay, and then I'm going to show you what we did to the seats this morning. My mom came out here and used a seam ripper, peeled all this back, and what we're going to do is, you see this support bracket that's welded up in here. We're going to cut maybe just above that bracket, maybe leave 1 inch, and then we're going to take the existing tubing, dissect it, and if I just can't get it to work, I will be going to Menards, and they sell different widths of steel tubing, and I'll weld a steel tube going straight across right above this bracket. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this excess foam right here, that's real thick, take that off, and then we're gonna do some more measurements and take out these extra fancy trim pieces here on the seats, and we're gonna basically stretch that. And because I already took measurements of the other little low back bucket seats I got that we're gonna go in the Dart that were come out of a pickup, and these will be the same length, and we'll get rid of all this top half, and so it'll be basically our version of a Mopar A-body factory low back bucket seat. And I already know it's not going to be 100%. We just don't have the kind of money to go find even the used ones. When you find the used ones, they want a lot of money for them, even if they're in real bad shape. And some of them you have to start doing some restoration on the frames. Some of the frames are right up with rust, and the really good seats that are in fair shape or excellent are just way out of our price range. So and since this channel is all about low budget, using what you got or fabricating something or whatever, that's what we're doing with these seats. And they're going to be really nice, especially on long distance trips like the car shows and stuff, because they're really padded and just daily driving. We're only going to be, even though this isn't like showroom quality or anything like that, we're only going to take this out on nice weather. We're not going to drive it around in rainy days. We're not going to take it out on snow days. Just regular cruising weather days. And that way there's a lot of less stress and chance of morons hitting us or something happening, the car sliding off because of the road conditions or whatever. But anyway, let me shut this light off. But yeah, that's and like I said, because of the contours of the floor, I'll give you an example. This piece has already been measured. This is where that piece is going to go for the bottom of the seat on the right hand side of the seat. And I had to the mounting holes won't match up, because if I go with the same, because the mounting holes on the floor are the same as on these tracks on these van seats. They're the same length and all that, but the problem is the way the seats are designed, they come over way too far by the door, and the door might not close, and there needs to be a little bit of a gap here. So what we did is took measurements, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld thick short square plate over here, and then drill a hole, and it'd be like an ear coming off of this square tubing, and then we'll just run the studs down through that. And then over here, the back corner of the seat, it's going to need a couple of washers over here, and it'll be level. And then up here on the flat spot, the way the seat sits, level with the 3 inches lift and whatnot. It wasn't quite wide enough for another piece of 1.5 inch tubing to go under there as a spacer, but it measured around 1 inch, so that's why I bought that 1 inch square tubing there with holes in it to use, and cut off a section of it and use it as a spacer. We'll have that all painted and whatnot to blend in with the rest of the brackets underneath the seat. But other than that, oh, I did want to show you something. Since I showed you, I don't think in the last video I showed you, I think I made a video and then I didn't like it, so I went ahead and deleted it, that before I posted it on YouTube. The one I did do was with this car with an open exhaust manifold. Since then, I went ahead and got all that, for anybody that hasn't seen it, I got all the existing exhaust pipe that came off the Dart with the 2 1/4 pipe all the way back into an afterburner muffler. That's all welded up underneath there. It just needs a hanger bracket welded from the muffler and then bolted or welded to the frame underneath the car. But from the muffler back, I don't have any exhaust yet, but I wanted you to listen to how it sounds. She was been sitting a little while. Anyway. She's all tuned up, just got to get the rest of the exhaust out the back. Got all these spiders trying to spin webs on everything, and then we got all the yellow pollen off all the oak and hickory trees right now too, so it's making a mess. Anyway, that's where we're at on the Project Valiant, and stay tuned because I'm going to be doing, I already did part 1, this is part 2, and then I'll keep doing it, going until we get it completed, until you can see the seats modified and in there bolted down, or temporarily bolted down, until I pay for the padding and the custom molded carpet. I'm going to go through I think it's called Auto Interiors or something like that. Last I looked, they had, for 1965 Plymouth-Valiant 4-door custom molded carpet, loop style carpet, in the color that we wanted, for this car, for like $175 plus shipping. And I'm going to get some an extra roll of carpet, and so I can put some carpet up in the back deck, and then mount the speakers back on top of the carpet, so it cleans that up there on the back deck. And I'm going to eventually install a little aftermarket, like a hot rod third brake light from like the 50s or 60s out of one of the old hot rod catalogs or something, for kind of a custom look, a safety upgrade, so to speak. We're going to get rid of this old antenna, and we're going to put a hideaway antenna up along the top of the inside of the windshield. They got them on Amazon for like $7 and some change a piece. And then we're going to put a small little tinted eyebrow across the top of a piece of strip of tint across the top, to keep, when we try to use the sun visors and stuff, we're sitting there, we don't have that sun coming down between the sun visors or whatever, hitting us in the face at an angle and whatnot. Anyway, but other than that, somebody suggested that we put on little shark fins on the back middle section of the roof, and I was like, nah, because the problem with those is you either got to run a cable, like coax cable, or you have to drill a hole through the roof, and I don't want to drill a hole through the roof. Even though it would kind of fit the shape and the contour of the car, one of them little shark fins, but we're trying to keep this as stock as possible, which we've been we've really been trying to do mostly, but there's just some things on this project that's not going to do that. A lot of wasps and hornets out here today. But anyway, I rambled on long enough. Stay tuned for more videos. Until next time.